Welcome to the Face the Music Podcast. What is up, everybody? My name is Matt, and I'm your host. Welcome to episode number 5. This is a special episode. Why? Because it's my birthday. 37 years young. This is going to be an extra special top 10 this week. Music news, maybe a surprise or two. You ready? Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? How are you? I'm still recovering from being a little bit sick last week, so pardon my voice. It's still a little rough. Welcome to episode 5. Last week was a short episode, a little break for you guys after 2 weeks in a row of some pretty lengthy ones. We had John Gunther a couple weeks ago. That was over 2 hours long. After that, we had Path We Choose Boys on, and that ran over an hour as well. So, you got a little bit of a break. But we'll see where this one goes. If this is your first episode of the Face of Music Podcast, I just want to say welcome to the family. And if this is not your first, if you're returning, thank you for coming back. Thank you for listening. And thank you for joining me once again for another episode of the Face of Music Podcast. I appreciate your time and your support you give me every single week, and I do not, nor will I ever take that for granted. I think of that every single time I'm putting one of these episodes together. Time is valuable. Time is not currency, but it's more valuable than $1. We spend our time at work. We spend our time with loved ones. We spend our time on hobbies, on sports, you name it. Our time is worth something. We spend more time than we do money. Time is the one thing that is free to spend, but the most limited thing that we have as humans. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 5 weeks in for spending your time with me. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, this week's top 10 list is going to be a bit different because it's my birthday. So this week's top 10 is going to be my top 10 favorite artists while sprinkling in music from some of the bands that I've played in through the years. Hey YouTube, just doing a quick little overdub while I'm editing this video. I see no reason for me to remove the audio from the Requiem of Ashes, Burn Your Bridges, or Logan's Room songs because I played on these. I have writing credits, so YouTube should not be able to take these down. If they do, I apologize, but they shouldn't. Top 10's playlist over on Spotify. As always, the code will be at the end of the top 10, and it's also in the link tree that's on all of my socials. Let's jump right in. At number 10, we have Burn Your Bridges, The Aperture. This was a special song for Burn Your Bridges. It was the first legitimate single that we've released, and it caught on with fans immediately as well. Big sing-alongs at our shows, we gained a lot of traction. Gunther even did a really cool drum cover of it, and that was a particularly cool moment for me because I had never had anybody cover my music before, let alone want to listen to it, so this was a twofer. It was pretty cool. I remember at first I didn't even really like this song. I didn't think it was going to blend well with our live shows, and I could not have been more wrong. People still talk to me about this song. Burn Your Bridges was Andy on rhythm guitar, Nick on bass, Kevin on vocals, Tyler on drums, and myself on lead guitar. Kevin wrote a line in this song for the breakdown that stuck with me all these years later, and I think I'm probably always going to love it. It goes, some sense of clarity, a single second where my head is not the enemy. It's a cool line, and it hits too because we've all been there. We all need that moment of peace. This breakdown I always compared to getting hit in the face with a dodgeball. It just hits you so hard, it knocks you off your ass. Burn Your Bridges was the first band that I put together after Logan's Room broke up, and it was a hell of a good time while it lasted. At number 10, this is my old band Burn Your Bridges with The Aperture. Number 9, we have The Ghost Inside. This band means a great deal to me. For those who are not aware, in 2023, my wife and I were involved in a near-fatal car accident when a drunk driver basically pit maneuvered me while we were driving home from my parents' house one night. We were in my Chevy Colorado, and he got on the highway, he hit my rear passenger side tire, and it caused us to go sideways. According to the fire department, the car had to have rolled at least 5 times. We woke up over a barricade, just covered in blood, like the whole car spattered. It was something out of a nightmare, truthfully. We were facing the wrong way in traffic, and we were also, since we were over a barricade, we were looking down, and like those Long Island highways, they bank a lot. So we're looking down at a service road, basically down a hill. There was a possibility that we could have rolled down that hill. So when the fire truck arrived on the scene, they hooked us up to the truck to brace us, but they ended up getting us out, thankfully. Took us to the hospital, and by the grace of God, we were able to sleep in our own beds that night. Needless to say, I cried like a bitch the second my head touched the pillow. We were extremely lucky to have our lives, let alone minor injuries from that. The road to recovery from that night was a little bit rough. My wife had a broken wrist. My face was beat to absolute shit. My back was pretty fucked up too. But like, neither of us needed surgery. Got a lot of physical therapy, MRIs, all that good stuff. The Ghost Inside had... I'm not comparing my situation to theirs by any stretch, but they had an absolutely horrific bus accident years ago. And they released a song a bit after their accident. It was one of the first singles they released off of this album. It was their self-titled album. The name of the song is called Aftermath, and they revisit the side of their accident in the music video. They go through their recovery and what it means to them to be back and able to do this, and it shows you that it's perseverance. It really is. Like, the whole thing's about perseverance, pushing through all the bad shit, coming out the other side. Vocalist Jonathan Vigil has an incredibly powerful line in the song immediately before the breakdown. I don't have it in me to sing of defeat, triumph over tragedy. And that resonated with me so hard after my accident. This band got me through that. Mostly this song. This is a song I kept on repeat for a while. If The Ghost Inside got through what they did, I can get through this too. I can get through every bit of it. It was the first time in a long time that a song had made me feel that kind of emotion. This is my favorite song from The Ghost Inside. Hands down. Powerful as hell. Off of their 2020 self-titled release, this is Aftermath. The number 8 spot this week goes to a band that I've been referencing since week 1. My true roots of playing metal in a band, Requiem of Ashes. This band consisted of myself on drums, Dan on bass, John on lead guitar, Anthony kind of exchanging lead guitars, and also he was lead vocals. They're all currently in the band Old Bones. They have a bunch of different side projects as well. This is a clip from a song that we wrote called Until the End. The song, unfortunately, it's not on Spotify. I would love it to be, but it's not. We never got that far, and it was 2007, so it was way before Spotify. This was my favorite song to play live. My favorite song to just get lost in and feel the music. Until the End was melodic. It was filled with guitar harmony and octaves. It was a mid-tempo track, and even when clipping it for the show, dude, it took me right back to my basement when we were kids, trying to just figure the shit out for ourselves. The recordings we did were very, very far from professional, and that isn't to say we didn't try to get pro recordings, but we went to the studio 3MB, and they absolutely took advantage of us. It sucked. They saw a bunch of kids walk in, and they just basically took our money. They recorded it, but it was awful. Like, it's not the hype that had been lived up to. You know, they were referred to me by another band, by a certain rock star's son that I won't name because I don't want to drag people, but 3MB is no longer around, so I have no problem talking shit about them. At number 8, this is my first real band. This is Requiem of Ashes with Until the End. Coming in at number 7, we're going to bring it back to a simpler time, a more fun time. When the sun was hotter, summer lasted forever. You had to go to your friends' houses and knock on their fucking doors if you wanted to see them. If you wanted to play video games with them, you had to be in the same room. Dude, this was my glory days. I can't stop smiling even thinking about it. The 90s. The 90s were great for me. I would kill for another day in the old neighborhood with everybody just waking up early, dude. Like, playing hockey in the streets, legitimately morning to night, playing Manhunt after it got dark, going to the park and self-pitching absolute piss missiles over the fence of the baseball fields. Back when nu metal was the thing. One band just reigned supreme. Limp fucking Bizkit. There was only one song I could think of to bring it right back to the best time of my life, right before politics became all my generation knew, because, you know, we had, being a New Yorker, just a few short years later, our world became a very scary and unsettling place. Of course, I'm talking about 9/11 with, you know, fears of terrorism and war, and on the smaller scales, it was scary for us because we were kids, and we were on the verge of going to high school, starting our actual lives. This song always reminds me of how great it was to have life as a kid at that time. Just how much fun my friends and I had every single day together. Max, Nick, Paul, I love you boys. I miss you. If you're listening, off of Significant Other, this is Limp Bizkit with 1999. At number 6 this week, we have Mudvayne. Mudvayne is a band that I discovered one day on MTV. Imagine that shit. MTV used to play music, and I heard this song Dig. My first impression was I better put the volume on 2 because I know my parents are not gonna like this. But then I watched this video. I watched them perform. I saw Matt McDonough playing double bass, Greg's big ass spiked hair, Chad just covered in blue shit and had cables attached to his beard, and Ryan looking like a whole ass demon. It was awesome. I fell in love with Mudvayne quick. I listened to LD50 and Beginning of All Things to End, and the musicality and intensity was just insane. I was supposed to see these guys open for Metallica when End of All Things to Come came out, so me and my friends all painted our faces like Mudvayne. I think I had mine painted like Ryan, which, like, at the time, he just had, like, black with red around his eyes. Well, funny story, my friends, we all got in the car. My friend's dad drove us. It was at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Back then it was Giant Stadium. We got there as the band walked off stage and missed their entire performance. Best part about that, we had floor. So as we're walking out the gate onto the floor of Giant Stadium, security thought we were in a gang. And that still just blows my mind. We were 15, dude. We were not in a gang. It also turns out that was the year that Mudvayne stopped wearing face makeup. So we looked like a bunch of asshole kids, but whatever. That following school year, sitting on the bleachers during marching band, like every Saturday, we had to be at the high school to perform. We had to be there for the marching band, and we just had bleacher music, and it got boring. We got tired of playing all the same shit. But a few of the brass players actually figured out how to play Internal Primates Forever on their instruments. And a lot of the drummers, we already listened to Mudvayne and metal and everything, so we were familiar. We would just start jamming it during football games. It was pretty cool. Admittedly, I didn't join in at first because I was always nervous about everything in high school and school in general. I was terrified. I had a bad bully experience. I was afraid to speak, really. But at first, the teacher was a little bit thrown off by this, but once he realized what was happening, he supported it because we were interested in it, and it was something new. It was something that he didn't teach us, but we were doing. Mr. Rizzo was just the best. He was the best. He always supported us with everything we did musically. He always made sure that if it was something that we were acting out of turn to do, he fostered it. He let it grow because he was there to inspire, and he absolutely did. I loved all 4 years I had with Mr. Rizzo. He retired a few years ago. God bless him. The best music teacher I've ever had, the one of the best teachers I've ever had. But yeah, he just let us go with it. So I can say that I got to play Mudvayne in marching band. This is that song. At number 6, Mudvayne off of LD50. This is Internal Primates Forever. This week's number 5 spot. This is my old band, Logan's Room. Logan's Room was vocalist and rhythm guitarist Jordan, bassist Dave Kaufman, who now I'm sure, because I've said them so much over the past few weeks, Dave's currently in the band Roderick, who was actually on the top 10 last week as well. And this was myself on lead guitar. I do not want to talk about the drummers. We had 2 extremely problematic drummers throughout the life of the band. All I'll say about them is that they really aren't worth mentioning for one reason or another. If you know, basically. But being in Logan's Room was a challenge for me, mostly because I stepped in as lead guitarist for the first time ever in my life, after just being a bedroom musician, I always wrote for myself. I always recorded for myself. I never thought I was really good at guitar. I never really felt the inspiration to be in a band playing guitar because I never thought I was good enough. And as most musicians listening to this can attest to, self-doubt is everything. Like, you will never escape self-doubt, ever, in your musician career. But I went to, I forget the name of the studio, but it was in Deer Park to watch them play, and they were on an internet radio show before I even joined the band. And the music they were playing, I'm sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, I feel like I can add something to this. I feel like I could actually be of service to this band. I auditioned. They accepted me as their lead guitarist, and we took off. And I could say that I'm probably the most proud of my time in this band. The musicianship was, oh god, it was outstanding, and like the ideas were new. It wasn't generic. It just, every part of it worked. It was legitimately like everything worked. Every little bit worked. But jumping in this band, like, they took it seriously. This was different than any other band I've been in. Like, Requiem of Ashes, we tried to rehearse once a week, but we didn't. Truthfully, we didn't. Through the life of the band, I'm pretty sure we only played maybe 10 shows, and that's not a lot. With Logan's Room, though, they rehearsed every week. Not only did they rehearse every week, they rehearsed every week all the way out west. They're based out of Long Beach. I'm North Babylon. I'm 40 minutes away. So every Tuesday night, I was packing all of my shit in my car, driving all the way out to Long Beach. And like I said, it's about 40 minutes. It's not close to me at all, but I believed in it. And we rehearsed actually in the basement of a Jewish temple, which I thought was pretty cool. They let us do that. This was not music that, like, I would ever imagine hearing in the church of any kind. It was pretty cool. But we rehearsed every single week. Regularly played shows. I mean, regularly, like once a month, if not more. We were playing a show. We played with touring bands a lot. We played, a good amount with nationals, which was pretty cool. Like, humble brag, 100% of the way. We did play with bands like Adrenaline Mob, Texas Hippie Coalition, Boy Meets World, Tantric we played with. I mean, the list can go on and on. It was a great time. We got to open up for 40 Below Summer, I think, like 3 or 4 different times. Direct Support, 3 of those 4, I believe. It was good. It was fun. But we earned our name. We worked really fucking hard. But it was also the first time that, I saw potential for something bigger in this band. I saw, like, our music kicked ass, and there was inspiration for Image there, which was different. The music we were writing at first was very pop rocky, or not even pop rocky, hard rock. It's like the heavier side of Nickelback, but a little different, right? Because people hate Nickelback. Nickelback is great. Don't shit on Nickelback. But we started writing heavier, because after the first album, I was contributing a lot more. Dave was contributing a lot more. Things started to get heavy. Lyrically darker, musically heavier. So it called for a little bit of an image change, because we were a bunch of dudes that walked on stage with, like, sunglasses on and scarves in our pockets, all that kind of shit. And it wasn't that kind of band anymore. So we started wearing masks. We got fog machines and stage scrims. We used strobe lights. We made every show a show. And it was awesome. Unfortunately, with bands, sometimes tensions get a bit too hot, and that happened a lot with Logan's Room. But, it was a lot of tension for a really good product. But unfortunately, that ended up leading us to part ways and explore different areas of our lives. We all went on to form new bands, take steps forward in life, but I know none of us look back and regret a single second of what we made it together. I really truly do feel that we trapped lightning in a bottle. This song that I'm going to play for you is off of our 2015 EP, To Be Continued, which was our final release. This is my favorite track off of that EP, and I didn't even write it. This was 100% Jordan's baby. He brought it into rehearsal one day. We banged it out, and by the end of the day, we had something that we were all so unbelievably proud of. This is a great song. There's so many different elements to it. If you check it out, it's on Apple Music. It's got a bit of, like, Machine Head. It's got a bit of like really nice melodies. It's got dual guitar harmonies. It's got everything, honestly. Go check it out. I can't feature it on here because I don't have Apple Music, and I'm not gonna do that. Maybe one day I'll throw it on Spotify, though. We'll see. But go check it out for sure. Enjoy. This is Logan's Room with Hollow. Number 4 goes to a band that I think everybody that I know loves. They're a band that connected a generation of kids together through adolescent confusion, feeling depressed, feeling lost, and really giving us all the first sense of community in this genre. Of course, the band that I'm talking about is Linkin Park. Hybrid Theory came out in 2000, and it changed the game forever. With songs like Crawling in the end, One Step Closer. Those were monster hits. The other songs on that album, though, they're honestly, at this point, if you haven't listened to Hybrid Theory, what the hell are you doing? Go listen to it. Go listen right now. It's 37 minutes long, and it's one of the best albums of my life. Papercut kicks it off. Forgotten. A Place for My Head. There's just, it's track after track of perfection, but, go listen to it. Seriously. Great album. A few short years later, in 2003, Linkin Park released Meteora, and once again, they completely changed everything. The first single they released from that record was called Somewhere I Belong. At least I'm pretty sure. Could have been Faint, but I'm pretty sure it was Somewhere I Belong. It was a song about not fitting in. It was about searching for that place that makes us feel welcome. It was a roadmap for kids who needed to find their way. And as I said week 1, I needed somebody else to tell me that they knew what it was like to be me, and Chester did that on this track. I will never know myself until I do this on my own, and I will never feel anything else until my wounds are healed. I will never be anything until I break away from me. I will break away, I'll find myself today. Those lyrics taught me about self-discovery, about the power of taking back your own life and taking control of a situation and not letting a situation control you. Chester would have been 49 years old this year, just this past Thursday. Chester and I shared the same birthday. Linkin Park announced new singer Emily Armstrong last August, as well as a fantastic album From Zero. And I know, people are so divided over this album, but it's fantastic. As a Linkin Park fan, it's a damn good album, and they're not trying to replace Chester. Emily does a great job at what she does. The live show was incredible. I saw them in Brooklyn over the summer. It was one of their first 6 shows back. It was amazing. And the album was great. I can't speak highly enough about it because it's a reinvigoration. It's new life in this band. And I'm sorry, I've been a fan of theirs for 25 years now. I'm going to support them forever. Linkin Park can really do no wrong in my eyes. They will always hold a very special place in my heart, and as I know they will for so many others as well. Meteora just turned 23 years old the other day. So happy birthday, Meteora. At number 4 this week, I have Linkin Park with Somewhere I Belong. Going into our top 3 songs of this week. If you haven't found the theme by now, I will spell it right out for you. The theme is simple. Bands that helped me become who I am today. For one reason or another, whether it be motivation or getting through some dark times and depression or nostalgia. A lot of these bands are older. A lot of these songs are older, but the meanings are the same all of these years later. This next band, if you know me, you know I sing their praises regularly. They're the hardest working band in the industry. Straight up. The hardest working band in the metal industry. They have never slowed down. They have never stopped. And they have one of the best stories of any band out there. If you do not know, please go look them up. They're truly incredible, and I don't know how they survived being a band this long. I'm talking about Sevendust. Sevendust from Atlanta, Georgia. The band has been around for almost 30 years now. They frequently tackle subjects in their music of social justice, mental health, dealing with loss, difficult home life, perseverance, resilience. The song Black by Sevendust comes off of their self-titled album that came out in 1997, and to me, this is the most quintessential Sevendust song ever written. I think of the band, I think of the song. It is just synonymous. The song is about trying to avoid the bullshit by minding your own business, by only worrying about yourself and not worrying about everybody else. That's a hell of a message, and like I said, it still stands true today. People need to mind their own business and worry more about themselves. None of us are perfect, but we're all a work in progress. I think we can all agree to that. The entire band shines in every Sevendust song, and this is no different. But in this one particularly, vocalist LaJean Witherspoon stands out with a truly incredible vocal performance. This week's number 3 song of the week. This is Sevendust with Black. Number 2, we have Machine Head. Machine Head's career is meant for the diehards to appreciate. The band's debut album, Burn My Eyes, came out 31 years ago now, and it set the bar crazy high for the band. The next album, The More Things Change, was the perfect follow-up. The band was riding a big wave of success until 1999's The Burning Red, which is one of the most divisive albums of the band's entire career. Seeing darker themes, simpler song structures, and welcoming a more nu metal sound, it turned off a lot of fans, which was also the case with their 2001 release of Supercharger, which I never understood the hate for these two albums, The Burning Red and Supercharger, as I thought they were actually among the band's best. But that's why I said their career is for the diehards, because you loved these albums or you hated these albums. There really was no in between. People found their way back to Machine Head, though, with the 2003 album Through the Ashes of Empires, and they had the world at their feet with the 2005 masterpiece, The Blackening. Today, though, I want to talk about Supercharger. This album, to me, was perfection. It had the heavy, it had the melody, it had the nu metal rap rock sound, and it had balls. Most importantly, going with another theme today, it had songs that I connected with that helped me out when I was desperate to connect with music. The first Machine Head song that I ever heard was Crashing Around You. It was a song that was about your conscience weighing you down, that feeling on your back that just gives you bad vibes, and all the heavy shit that life puts on you. Rob Flynn was saying all of the things that I felt, and it felt really, really good to hear someone else say it. The other standout track from this album, for me, was the one that I'm pretty sure I'll never hear live, because they don't play it. I don't think they ever will. I got made fun of for loving this song as much as I do, but the song is called Kick You When You're Down. It's an uplifting and motivating as fuck song. To me. Could be to you too, we'll see. This is all about just rising above the people and all the situations in life that try to keep you down and just make you as miserable as they are. Um, the lyrics in this song are powerful as hell for me. You have to trust in yourself. You must believe in yourself. You have to follow your heart. You overcome, improve, endure. That was my mantra every day, dude. I have that saved as my phone's screensaver, so when shit got really rough, I took one look at that and I felt empowered. This song carried me through a bad part of my life. Awful job. Just it was a multi-level marketing thing. I knew it was a scheme. I refused to see that it was what it was. Everyone told me, but you know what, dude? Everyone else kept trying to put me down, and I kept trying to prove them wrong. And that's really what I'm all about, really. Don't try to tell me to do something, because I'm going to try to prove you wrong. This song lit me up every day. It got my blood going. It got me believing that, like, if no one else believes in me, I'm gonna believe in me. And you know, I also had to acknowledge when it's time. Let's throw in the towel here. Not making any money. It is clearly bullshit, and you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I was trying to find my way through depression from a breakup. I was trying to get to the gym and just not let the bullshit win. You know, I didn't really know where I was in life, and you know, who the fuck does when you're that young? But this song was powerful. The song really got me through it. It made me believe in myself. It made my blood start pumping. It made me really feel like anything was possible. And at the end of the day, like, you have to believe in everything you're doing. Full send. You know, everything you do, full send. At number 2, this is Machine Head off of Supercharger. This is Kick You When You're Down. Here we are, our week 5 number 1 song. This week, as if there was anyone else that you could expect from me, we have the mighty Metallica. Metallica is my favorite band, flat out, no questions asked. This band has not only lyrically mastered the art of storytelling, but instrumentally as well. To me, there is nothing better than a James Hetfield guitar solo. The man plays with a passion that is just unmatched. Kirk is beyond elite. I love that a band that's been around since 1981 and focused solely on being as fast as possible could show such a steady evolution. Kill 'Em All was all speed. Ride the Lightning was about proficiency and showing that they can write songs and tell those stories. Puppets dabbled in longer song lengths, harmonies, being ass-kickingly heavy. Justice was the total package. Elaborate, technically proficient songwriting, masterful guitar work, amazing storyteller lyrics, speed and anger, heavy melody. It was perfect. And then came the Black Album. And man, if people weren't mad enough that they made a music video for one off of Justice, they were fucking pissed about the Black Album. Hot take, though, the Black Album was one of Metallica's best. Commercially, the most successful. But also, to me, sonically, lyrically, creatively, it was also technically the first album, to feature Jason Newsted, since it was the first time that we actually heard his bass on an album. Jason's bass stood out a bit on this album, but one song in particular, Jason had the intro, he carried the verses and the chorus, it spotlighted him. But it was also lyrically powerful, and features one of my all-time favorite guitar solos from Metallica. At your number 1 spot this week, week 5, In this very special birthday edition of the Top 10, we have Metallica's My Friend of Misery. As always, you can check out the full songs on the Face the Music Top 10s playlist on Spotify by either searching or scanning the code on your screen now. The only songs not available on Spotify this week, unfortunately, are Requiem of Ashes Until the End and Logan's Room Hollow, though, like I said before, I do believe Hollow is on Apple Music. We just didn't put it on all the platforms back then. My friends and bands, if you have a show coming up, a new single, an album, or an EP dropping, let me know. I will do whatever I can to help put your music in the spotlight. I want you to reach as many ears as possible, as many eyes if you have a video. I want to get people to your shows, and I'm also very interested for myself too. I love the local music scene. There's so much talent out there, and unfortunately, I don't know about it unless you guys tell me. Or put it on your Facebooks, or promote. It's so important that you promote your product. This is not just music we're talking about, it's a brand. So any band that's out there and you have hopes of taking it to that next level, you need to make sure you are promoting your products. There are bands out there that are doing it right now. It's work, it's money, but you gotta do it. And I want to make sure that I can do my part to get you to that next level. I don't have that many followers yet, but what I do have people listening every week without fail. So please send me your stuff. I want to get you exposed. Okay? All right, guys, we got some show announcements. We have April 11th, City Sound Studios, Ronkonkoma, New York. We have the Robert and Mickey birthday bash. Robert being in Dead Within Days and Mickey being in Lucid Dreams. Dead Within Days will not be playing this show, but you will see Dara, Ronan in Lucid Dreams, The Phoenix and the Raven, and My Boys in Prey Upon. Doors at 6:30, tickets are $18. This next show, I have been pushing every week since week 1. Buy your tickets. $20. Path We Choose, Resistor, and Traitors at AMH, Amityville on April 12th. Uchikatsu, Patterns of Decay, who you heard last week on the Top 10, and Tethered, who was also on a previous Top 10, will all be sharing the stage May 24th at City Sound Studios in Ronkonkoma, New York. Super stacked lineup, also featuring Graveborn from Massachusetts, Cytokine from New Hampshire, and Soul Mirror. July 26th, guys, this is the big one. This is the one of the summer. I'm calling it now. It's going to be a massive event. Moongroove Records will officially announce MGR Fest 2025 this past week. The event is going to take place at Uber Geek Brewing in Riverhead, New York on July 26th. There will be vendors, there will be food trucks, tons of music. Band announcements are going to begin as early as April 7th, which is next week. So make sure you keep your eyes on the Moongroove page for all event details. I'm going to share the event details, obviously, I'm going to. But I want all of you to please go follow Moongroove Records. This team is so important to the Long Island music scene, and they deserve 100% of the traction. Tom, I reached out to Tom. He's going to be coming on the show in a few weeks. We're going to be talking about the Long Island scene, what Moongroove is doing, and guys, I'm telling you now, it is so important. Tom is giving this scene a pulse again. you may think that like right now like things are okay, but I'm telling you, the way they used to be was so much better. And what Tom and the boys are doing, they're putting it back to that. They're giving the bands more control. They're giving the bands more options. They're not shackling them down with these crazy pre-sales, but they're giving them opportunities that bands have needed for 20 years. I am very excited to get Tom on and to talk about this show, talk about everything. It's going to be great, so stay tuned for that. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm celebrating my birthday, and I wanted to tell you all about that because this was definitely one for the record books. About 2 months ago, I entered a contest through SiriusXM to win admission to Pop Evil's album release show in New York City. So I found out last Tuesday that I actually won. I got access to this event. It was pretty cool. This event also happened to fall on March 20th, which is my actual birthday. So wifey and I hop on a train and we took a very short walk down to the Cult of Individuality on 39th Street in Manhattan. As far as we knew at this point, we get access to the show, which is an acoustic performance. We get to meet the band, and we get a free vinyl of What Remains, the new album. And there was going to be a Q&A there with Jose Mangin. Stacked, right? It's cool. So we go inside. We get our bracelet. We go upstairs to the main show area. It's so sick. It's such a great vibe to that place. It's also a clothing store. Cult of Individuality is a clothing store, so that was a little confusing at first to see like why they're doing it here. But the way they had this place set up was such a cool vibe. It was completely red lit. The staging, it was set up like it was a floor space, but it was set up as an area for the performance and Q&A. So there was benches, acoustic guitars. It was roped off so the band had, obvious privacy and stuff. But there were TVs around the room, and they were showing videos of Pop Evil the entire night. The album was playing in the background. The band met everybody right at the door to sign the brand new album, take some pictures. So you walk in, and the band is right in front of your face, and there's a big Sirius XM banner over there. They're taking pictures right against the backdrop. The new album, for what we got to hear, because there was quite a bit of noise in the room, but the new album was so good. So we had obvious early access to the album, but it was a banger, dude. It was so heavy, so much heavier than the other stuff they've done before, but this band just gets better. Every single album they drop, they just find a new way to convey their thoughts, and their music has just gotten progressively heavier, progressively better through the years. And that's not to say that they've ever had bad music. I've always been a fan of Pop Evil, but it's so good. I'm so hyped for you guys to hear it. It's heavy, it's melodic, it's introspective, it's lyrically deep. Just a really good fucking record. After we met them, we were making our way over to the spot for the performance, just trying to find a good place, because it was very, very packed in there. For a room that was probably the size of like a large high school classroom, there was about 200 of us or more in there. But as we're making our way over, we ran into Jose Mangin, who, if you're not aware of who he is, he runs Liquid Metal and Octane over at SiriusXM. He's also the longest running DJ in the company. Jose, congrats to 25 years, man. This guy bleeds metal. He's so smart. He loves music, loves this community. He's also got a really cool not-for-profit that he does to give kids a chance if they are pursuing a science degree. He's got a scholarship program, which is so awesome. But they have to love metal music. Like, they have to know their shit. Which, you should. You should. Raise your kids right. But he was just a good dude. I've met him before. I met him at the Metallica concert a few years ago. I was with Tyler, who was brand new to Prong at that time, and he introduced himself as the drummer for Prong, and Jose invited us to his tailgate parties. We got to go hang out with him for a little bit. But he's a very personable guy, and I'm very glad to have someone like that spearheading our scene. So basically, they settle everyone down in the room as much as they can, which was ridiculous because half the room was still talking, which was rude as fuck. But they jump into the Q&A and the acoustic songs, and it was awesome. The band sounded great. The questions were really, really good. They let a lot of light in on the band and the inspirations. But it turns out the whole thing was being filmed and recorded for Sirius XM broadcasting. So I think that's going to be coming out very soon. So keep your eyes out. It was a fun experience, so you should check it out. It would be fun to watch. After about 40 or so minutes, they wrap it up, and everyone's like getting ready to head out for the night. It's early; it's like 8:30 at night. So we're like, all right, that ended kind of early. Now what? I was still kind of not feeling so great, so I looked at it like, all right, at least we get home early. You get to go to bed. It's shitty and raining outside, so getting to go home and just go straight to sleep sounded pretty all right. They turned the cameras off. And then Lee, the singer of Pop Evil, gets on the mic and says, now that that's out of the way, they're going to bring out the electric guitars and drums, and they're going to put on a proper show. And immediately my interest went right back up, fuck going home, let's stay. We got an additional 35-minute set from the band in a way over capacity room filled with about 200 Pop Evil fans. This was one of the coolest birthdays I think I've ever had. Pop Evil is a band that a lot of people sleep on, and I'm here to tell you now, wake up. They're so talented, and they bring it every single time. I can safely say that it doesn't matter if you see them play a festival or the smallest room, they will give you 110%. The new record, What Remains, is incredible. Officially released on March 21st. Everybody should go check this out. One last thing that I want to talk to you guys about today. Your mental health. We, as a society, we take it more seriously now than our parents' generation ever did, and I'm very proud of us for advancing to the point of breaking stigma and acknowledging the help, or the need for help, or the existence of a problem. Just to give you guys a little bit of a background here, because my 2025 did not start the way that I was hoping it to. I was hoping for the same thing everybody was. 2025, it's a clean slate, fresh start. What I did not expect is to be fired 10 days into the year from a job that I had been at for over 7 years. It was pretty unprecedented, and I really wasn't expecting it, so it caught me pretty off guard. But what led to that, it was a rough 2024. But I was told by my boss, things will be better in 2025, so embrace the clean slate. I did. And then that motherfucker fires me 10 days into the year. So putting all that behind me, it led to me starting this podcast because I had time on my hands. But I was also, I needed to be in a different position. I don't have a job currently. So I was like, all right, I got a lot of free time. What can I do? And it took a lot for me to be okay being in front of a camera, speaking on a microphone. I'm not comfortable, but I wanted to try something new. That's what this year was about, right? Fresh start, clean slate. So let's try being vulnerable. Let's throw that into the mix, especially when I needed to get myself out of a bit of a depression. Because, being at a job for that long, dedicating that much time and effort to a job, it's taxing. It takes a lot out of you when all of that is cut from out beneath you. So for the sake of rebuilding, I started this, to be vulnerable, be different, try something new. And to try to pull myself out of the feelings that I was feeling, because to be completely honest, it threw me into a pretty deep depression. I hadn't felt that way in quite some time, and I hated it. So I wanted to do this, get it off the ground and see where it goes. And build something myself, be self-made, you know. I've always wanted to be some sort of business owner. I have always wanted to just start something for me from the ground up and say that I did it. So that's this. And this actually really helped me pull myself out of that depression that I was in. But what I wanted to say to everybody, aside from my own story, is you have to take care of your mental health. You matter. Our minds are poisonous to us. Our minds will try to make us believe as though we don't matter. Whether it be depression or anxiety, PTSD, postpartum, please don't let your pride get in the way when you feel something is wrong. Seek help. You're valued, you are loved, and we all want you here. What you should never do is ignore how you're feeling or try to suppress it or pretend like everything is okay if nothing is okay. My dudes, my kings, I am talking to you. It's okay to cry. It's okay to tell someone that you're not all right. It's okay to hit up your boys and be like, hey, listen, could we grab a beer? I'm not feeling right. I need to talk to somebody. But also, it's okay to just accept this. You know, accept the fact that things are not okay right now. Accept that things are a little fucked up. And it's all right. I promise you. No one is going to judge you. And if they do, you need to get rid of people like that from your life. Truthfully, if people are going to judge you for not being okay, then you need to remove those people from your life. Trauma comes into our lives and it has to be addressed. It could become incredibly self-destructive if it isn't, and that's not what anybody wants to see happen. Metal music is a great community. It really, truly is a damn good community. When you feel alone, you're not. And when you feel like you're the only one that's had something happen to them, I promise you, somebody else knows your pain, and you will get through it. But don't be afraid to lean on your community, whether it be needing somebody to talk to, or if you're seeking therapy or a more institutional care, none of which you should ever be ashamed of. Life is a bitch. Life is hard as hell. And it doesn't help any of us that people are weaponizing, commercializing, and selling mental health issues to us. These fucking pop stars, they're not real people, dude. Like, they have someone else write their music for them, which gets produced and sung by them, and then they get it pushed out to the masses. And I'm not judging, because everyone goes through it. Everyone has anxieties, but what they go through is a very different level than what we go through. And it's important to make sure that we are focusing on us and not what's being sold to us. We need to really concentrate on that as a group. You know, this fucking song by Doechii out there right now called Anxiety, and it's singing about like, oh, I have anxiety, but like, you know, yeah, I'm sure you do. You're just releasing a brand new song with Will Smith, but you're also a Grammy nominee. You're also cleaning up. Like, you're doing pretty well. So that's not going to hit the same when you're singing about it to a bunch of kids, because you're not singing to adults. Your market is kids. So now kids are going to look for anxiety. Kids are going to start believing that they have something wrong with them and not talk about it because they think, oh, the song says it, so I'm just going to be okay with the song saying it. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not something that we should be selling to children. It's a real thing. It's not taken care of the way it should be. We're getting there, like I said, but it's not being treated the way it needs to be treated. If you're feeling any sort of suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, please seek help just immediately. I'm going to repeat this information a couple times because it's important. You can text or call 988. Text or call 988 to access the suicide and crisis lifeline. You'll speak to somebody immediately, and you can also call, if you want to, 866 903 3787. 866 903 3787 for the National Mental Health Hotline to speak to a professional about anxiety symptoms and get help with your mental health resources. You matter. You're loved. We all want you here. Don't play games with your mental health, and don't let somebody sell you your feelings. Relatability isn't anything more than ignoring the problem. Please do not ignore your brain's cries for help. Thank you for giving me some of your time and all of your support. Everybody who listens, everyone who likes my posts, who shares them, who tells their friends to listen, I love you all, and I appreciate you more than words can say. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you again on the next one. You have been listening to the Face to Music podcast. Be well, everybody. Be safe, and I will see you again soon. Peace.